All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Dave DeFore. Dave, how's it going, buddy?
Not bad. Not bad. I'm enjoying all these days without games.
Yes, we said last week you were saying you were reading a lot, reading about the end of civilization. It's accidental nuclear annihilation, just one of your hobbies.
Not accidental. This was
well, a lot of it is the idea being, which just again, there's not enough fail safes.
Yeah, it's an accident on our part.
Yeah.
If it happens.
No, the actual weapons are working as intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Those controlling the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Not working as intended. Yeah, I'm having days off with the games. I'm having like days off of work. This is my summertime, and I'm
almost
a little
my summertime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit unemployed right now, and my typical thing. I mean, I do the podcasts. It makes a little bit of money, but also like in the summertime, I see
you're
that
making money on this.
Are you not? That's my bad. No. Like the Patreon numbers dip a little in the summer, people drop out, people are cutting costs. I understand. And like during the quote unquote school year, I have this part-time job that fills most of my hours. And so there's a lean time for Keith, which is the summer. And I'm extremely lucky to have a wife that's got a pretty solid job. But in the summer, I like to I tighten the belt because I'm not making money. My wife's like, that's ridiculous. I'm still making money.
Your donut budget is.
Yeah. I no longer splurge on donuts. And so I start looking ways to cut costs. That's where I'm at now. And it's funny. I've actually been doing I've been canceling subscriptions.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just like, well, if I'm not making the money, I'll just make it less. So like I did.
And you probably aren't using.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been long overdue. So like I paused Netflix. I'm like, I got to do the thing where I at least rotate the services.
When they get some good stuff.
But I don't need Netflix. I don't and Hulu and hey, listen, I rented Godzilla for $3. So I saw Godzilla -1. That's like a 20% of 1 month of Netflix, or whatever. But anyways, I paused Netflix. So I stopped my Netflix payments. But I'm like, great, this is free money. I got the secret price here for the other services where you cancel, and then they're like, oh no, how about like I canceled The Athletic. You canceled The Athletic, Dave. And they're like, how about 12 months for like $12? I'm like, all right, cool.
The $1 a month deal is the best deal in sports.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
So I did that.
I use promo code Dave on that.
I'll do it when I sign back up. I did it with HBO Max. Max, if you quit, they're like, how about 3 more months for like $5 a month? I'm like, yeah, sure. But honestly, like Max is like one of my crucial ones because I just watch those are my comfort shows. Yeah. But anyways, I'm tightening the belt, and I finally did it with cable. I've been paying for cable, like because I have cable and all these things.
Okay.
And I've had this long history with Xfinity and Comcast, and I mean, there's this thing they drop Bally Sports, which is where I watch the Grizzlies.
Right.
There's legitimately no reason for me to have cable anymore. Like HBO has the TNT broadcast of basketball. ESPN has the finals games. I can watch those all online. So I'm like, I'm finally going to do it. I'm finally going to cut my cable thing. But my thinking is I'm going to quit, and they're going to give me the good offer to keep me around. I'll see what that offer is. So actually I go into the store with like my Xfinity cable box, and it's a behemoth, like it's like a 20-year-old one. And I go in there to negotiate. I'm excited. This is I'm unemployed. This is my Tuesday. I'm like, Tuesday, I'm going to go argue for a new cable price. I don't know if they've changed their strategy at Comcast /Xfinity, but I had a delightful time at the store. I came in ready to do my like negotiation thing. The guys working, and again, maybe it's a new strategy. The guys working were funny. They were not overtly comical, but they gave me like Key and Peele doing a sketch where you work in retail vibes. The idea being, I walked in, they're like, what can we do for you today? And I'm like, well, I want to turn in this cable box, but also I'm probably thinking about canceling my cable. I mean, unless there's like some unknown offer I'm not aware of because I'm spending too much on cable. And the guy looked at me and he's like, oh yeah, let's shut that cable down. And I was like, oh, I like this. And they're like, and the guys were like, well, why don't you need cable? I'm like, well, I mean, I pay for, I have Hulu Plus and I have HBO. And they're like, oh yeah, you don't need it. Let's cut it out. And so I'm like, cool. I'm like, well, is there no like a retention like kind of offer or anything? And the guy's like, listen, let's cancel it today. And then within 14 days, they'll offer you something. But right now they're like, do you need it for anything? I was like, no, I'm a big NBA fan. So I'm watching it for the finals, but I watch this on ESPN Plus. And he's like, that's right, you can. And so they just shut it down. It was the most painless, easiest thing. And I've tried to do it online before where like they're offering these like internet speeds that I don't actually get. And I'm like, I didn't even pay to upgrade this internet speed. Like, so like I always will try to like change my service online and sometimes it just doesn't go through. It doesn't even like they refuse it. Sometimes online, they're like, listen, you need to call a specialist. We can't help you today. Cause they're like, well, they're like cancel. I walk into the store. The guys are like, no, man, let's cut that bill. And it was so funny where I'm like, well, how much is my just internet by itself going to be? Is that price going to go up? He's like, no, you're good. It'll stay the same. So I don't know if it's a new total strategy. Maybe they're not paying on commission anymore. These guys were both about like, oh yeah, you pay for HBO on your own. Yeah. Let's get rid of this. You don't watch this TV. You don't need it.
That's so funny.
It was cracking me. It put me in the best mood. I was like,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You can't really cancel other stuff.
There's so much stuff you feel like you can't cancel. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's amazing.
The next one's going to be Spotify. Like my kids use Spotify so much. Spotify is slightly different in my mind between these television providers. Like we can get into the morality of capitalism and things, but like Spotify is just evil. Like HBO, whatever. They make TV. Right. Paramount Plus, Hulu, they're making TV. They're not like a cancer to the entire industry, I don't think. Maybe you could say Netflix is destroying movie theaters. But like Spotify is this aggressive cancer attacking an industry that's near and dear to me, the music industry. Right. Like they stop paying basically all small artists and it's just like they're destroying everything. But it's still this thing I'm like my kids are addicted to. And I don't know what the alternatives are. But
well, this week, Keith, I'm reading The State and Revolution by Vladimir Lenin. So, I mean, there are alternatives. I honestly think I wish Blockbuster was still around.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, that was my
to physically going and selecting a movie. And you remember the disappointment when you were going for something in particular?
Yeah.
And it wasn't available?
Yeah.
And it lasted for, I don't know, a couple minutes and then you just found something else.
Well, also Blockbuster. You did discover the things. You're right. Yeah.
There's no effort. Everyone, like the whole thing, the reason that we get garbage is because we watch anything because it's just there. I have actually had my own streaming service for myself, since like 2007.
Yeah.
I started digitizing my DVDs and, I just did it. I'm actually thinking about going back to physical media.
So I don't want to own any physical media is my problem.
That's the I move all the time.
I want the analog feeling of I'm watching this DVD right now, but I don't. I mean, also just
putting a blank DVD in and then selecting.
The idea of picking out your movie by hand at Blockbuster. I mean, Blockbuster used to get you with the late fees. You know, it's like $5 a day if you're overdue. Yeah. And then you had video stores that stopped doing late fees. And you're like, this is amazing. Like it's like 99 cents every day.
I owned the Bourne Identity for, $3.
Yeah. But that was my thought with movies too, where it's like during the basketball season, I'm watching so much basketball. If I just paid $3 every time I watched a whole movie,
right,
it probably wouldn't hit my subscription services type thing. That was my renting Godzilla -1 for $3. It was awesome. Big recommend there. Anyway, speaking of tightening the belt, the Lakers didn't pay for a coach. I know. We'll get to that in a second, maybe. Let's do our breakfast. We got to get to the basketball.
Let's just be honest. They're paying for a coach right now.
They really are.
They're going to pay for whoever this next coach is, for him to not work.
Now, I've always been confused about this with a lot of coaching contracts. So Darvin Ham joins the Bucks coaching staff to work with Doc Rivers. Is there any kind of set off from the money that the Lakers owe him? I feel like
he's
a lot of these
assistant coach. It's the greatest. He's an assistant coach. If he had gone to be a head coach, then
can I just say I got a contract once? I'm going to speak in hypothetical vague terms. I got a contract once where it seemed like parts of the contract were not specific to my industry. And perhaps there was cut and pasted portions of the contract, perhaps, that seemed like they belonged maybe with what you would see in like the hiring of a sports coach. And it was very bizarre because there were things that were like, if this contract ends, you have to try to get work. Otherwise, we don't owe you if we end the contract early. And I'm like, none of this makes any sense to my podcasting business. And I think, again, hypothetically, possibly what happened was there was, again, like it was maybe copy pasted from a sports coach contract. It was very odd to see in there.
That is funny.
It is funny. But I wonder, does Jeannie Buss get any relief by Darvin Ham taking immediately getting another job?
No.
Okay.
Maybe like just the weight off her conscience for fire.
It's not going to be like when when Kevon Looney gets claimed by so and so. It's going to save the Warriors money. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about breakfast, Dave. Have you had a breakfast?
You know what? Just did a little low fat yogurt.
Stealing my bit.
Strawberries, some blueberries. Strawberry season right now.
Yeah.
So Aldi had strawberries for $1 a pound.
Yeah.
So I went to town. My dog loves strawberries.
Dogs eat strawberries?
Well, mine do.
Okay.
When I lived in Germany, my French bulldog, she used to eat wild strawberries in my front yard. And that was when I learned dogs like strawberries.
Strawberries are one of so I've never owned a dog. Strawberries to me seem like one of those things where it's like, that's dog poison. Whatever you do, don't let a dog eat a strawberry. But it's good to know it's not.
No. Well, not that I know of. I mean, my dog's pretty healthy.
I had leftover salmon for breakfast. It was we had
cold.
It was cold out of the fridge, so
salmon
it was,
doesn't heat well.
Yeah, you wouldn't reheat it really, but cold salmon's fine. Like, I mean, obviously smoked salmon is one of the just amazing best foods there is. But this was it was seared on the oven, seared on the stove, and then put in the oven. Is that a baked salmon? I don't know what you mean.
I mean, it's
cooked.
Sure. Yeah, it's cooked.
My wife made it, but also we had too much because our local grocery store no longer has a butcher. So you basically have to just buy whatever quantities. It wasn't like, give me the smallest.
Man, this sucks.
It's bleak.
This sucks.
It's a nice, it's a grocery store in a pretty nice neighborhood.
Look,
and it's like we've lost all the workers.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
No sense to me.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Listen, the neighborhood is gentrified. It is now like a pretty wealthy neighborhood. And for whatever reason, the grocery store has just lost more and more employees. It just keeps going. Kroger is being like, listen, we're going to overwork these people during the pandemic. We're going to ask them to pay back the bonuses we gave them in the pandemic. And there's just fewer and fewer workers. I went to take back a box. Listen, I took back a box of wine because it was gross. I am not saying that the box of wine on its own is gross, because this is the brand of box of wine. Okay. No problem with the boxed wine. I'm like, this one was wrong. I walk into the customer service and like the workers walking away from the customer service station, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll be back in 15 minutes when break's over. I was like, this customer service is abandoned. I went and shot hoops. I had a basketball in the car. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey,
no, good for them.
Take that break.
Take the break. But also, why aren't there more employees at the store?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, no store has enough employees, but although the self-checkout thing, because checking people out of the grocery store is a BS job.
Yeah.
Me self-censoring for Fastbreak Breakfast. And so like self-checkout is good. There's just not enough of them.
Well, it's just, I think you should have both options.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
You want full service? That's great.
In case I need help.
Yeah.
Or I have questions. And the butcher in particular is like an expert on this stuff. And when you think about it, like, you know, I'm pretty good at shopping for meat, but there are times where I have questions. You know, hey, I'm doing this. What do you think?
Well,
And the butcher is the best person to ask.
That and just the exact quantities. Yeah. I don't need this much salmon to feed 4 people, but this one package is too small to feed 4 people. So anyways, there was leftover salmon I ate for my breakfast. Corporations hire more people. Anyways,
pay people more.
Let's move to the Suns are paying the 3 coaches right now. Good job.
That's amazing. I'm telling you, that's the best job.
That is a billionaire funding the economy with 3 people. Let's move on. Those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, which the show is supposed to be about. Dave, you let me know earlier this morning you would like to apologize. You have something weighing heavy on your heart?
Well, I mean, listen. We've both seen the first 2 games of the finals.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear where this is headed. So I need to apologize to the Boston Celtics because they've been good enough all year. And I have hammered them for some of the finer point stuff. But overall, this team has been very good. They're likely going to win the title.
Yep.
So I owe Boston, the Celtics, the organization itself, John Adams,
Founding Father,
Paul Revere, John Hancock. We're going
Finals
all the way back.
MVP Brad Stevens,
Leonard Bernstein, famous Bostonian, Larry Bird, Leonard Nimoy, apologizing.
Yeah,
to all of Boston.
Bill Simmons' dad,
because I've just been apparently too mean to the Boston Celtics this year because I want them to be great.
Celtics are 14-2 in the playoffs.
Yeah, awesome.
Here, I don't listen. I'm going to take your tact. I don't feel like I should have to apologize. The Celtics showed us nothing in the postseason before the finals. I maintain they'd shown us very little.
I agree.
They had miracle rallies to beat like the Halliburton-less Pacers. I said if the Celtics don't make threes, they're not the kind of team that can win a game when they only make 8 threes. That fact is actually still true. They're 0-1 in the postseason when they make 8 or fewer 3-pointers. They only happened one time. But so far through the finals, they have shut down the Mavericks. And they haven't even shot the ball great. I mean, game 1, they hit 16 3-pointers. It's a lot of 3-pointers. Game 2, I mean, Tatum couldn't make anything. The threes
Tatum hadn't made anything in a couple of games.
The threes were not going in. Can we talk about the Tatum thing?
Well, he can't shoot.
His shot's a little bit broken.
He tucks his elbow across his body in an unnatural way. His very broad shoulders. He instead of being taught to turn his body and turn his feet like he should, someone has taught him to do this unnatural shooting motion. That's why he misses left to right. I mean, I've taught this all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a complicated thing, but he misses left to right a lot because he does this unnatural thing with his arm. I mean, let him shoot threes is actually kind of a thing, but the problem is he can get hot. So, like anyone, he can dial it in. I think part of it is Dallas has done a good job defending him and making it a little bit tougher, but also his shot is so inconsistent.
I need you to come coach my shot, Dave.
What is he, 34% 3-point shooter this year? I mean, he's just roughly not like a guy. Yeah. You don't want to leave him open, but he's not a guy that ever scares me as a shooter.
So I've been shooting the basketball more recently, Dave. I've been going to the park. Again, really? Customer service was closed for 15 minutes. I went to the park and I shot around. And I've always had a weird shooting stroke. It was
we're gonna do this in Vegas.
It's kind of let's do it. It's Tayshaun Prince-esque. It's not right. It's weird, but I've now see I'm supposed to keep my elbow in. All right.
No.
No. Well, I had a big chicken wing.
Forget that.
Oh, forget it.
Forget the elbow in. Forget the 10 toes to the basket. I mean, you wouldn't throw a baseball.
Well, so
like
I do a weird, but the thing is also like, when I learned to play basketball, there was no video of what I was doing.
Right.
I never saw myself.
Well, this is why jumpers used to look,
cool.
They
unique.
were all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. Like all these guys. I actually think this is, the homogenization of the game is bad. Yeah. This is why Kyrie Irving is so amazing to watch. But the one area where homogenization has worked has been jump shooting. Like this is why these guys can make shots.
I think so when I played and again, just rec ball or whatever, church league and such, I always made it a point of pride that I can release the ball any number of ways and have it go in, yeah. I'm like,
so you just had good touch.
I'd be a terrible scout because I'm like, that shooter, he's got 12 different motions and a lot of them go in. I love it. As opposed to consistent form. That shows promise. Where I'm like, nope, I shot that one weird. That one came off my pinky. It went in. Let's do a few more of those.
Are you a good player?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Really? Okay. Good shooter?
Very streaky because of my weird, inconsistent shooting style.
Because my thing is with shooting form, right? Yeah. Like Tyrese Halliburton, his form never bothered me.
Yeah.
Never bothered me because it goes in. And so if you get it off and it goes in, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem if you're inconsistent. Like Danny Green would sometimes he always shot 40%, but he could sometimes go 4 games in a row without making a shot.
Yeah.
Right. But his shooting form was inconsistent. I could tell you watching him in warmups if he was going to have a good night or not, because he would hold his release versus sort of retract. This stuff's not hard. We're going to fix your shot in Vegas. It's going to be great.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Video out of it.
It's a weird. So yeah, I start again. I like film because now that I have a camera phone,
I have a gimbal.
I was like, I checked it out. I'm like, oh, all right. That's what I got. Go. The feet are weird. Sometimes I jump, sometimes I don't. I love it. But anyways, come fix my shot. Sorry. Also Celtics the whole last episode was, it was asking if the Celtics were favored by too much. And I'm not going to get that far over my skis yet. My Mavs in 6 pick still totally on pace. Okay. The Celtics had to win 2 for my prediction to be right. They did it.
Same.
I think the Mavs not scoring 100 points yet feels problematic.
Yeah.
I think the Mavs making, I believe, 13 threes.
Yeah.
That's what the Grizzlies average per game. And the Grizzlies were bad at shooting threes. And
5 non-Luka threes. They were averaging almost 4.5 made corner threes through the playoffs. They've made 2 in 2 games. I mean, the Celtics defense has just cut the water off. This is actually the thing. The Mavericks defense has done okay. / Boston has missed some shots, a lot of shots. That's one thing, but the Mavericks' inability to score and hit corner threes is the difference in the game. And I like, it does kind of stink. I think about you a lot with this, Keith, because you are the number one proponent of the anti 3-point shooting contest league.
Just basketball aesthetics is all I want. I want the game to be beautiful.
And one of the things that's sort of played against Dallas has been they've overplayed the defensive glass, and Boston just has been launching threes and a lot of long misses. And Dallas has given up offensive rebounds leading to wide open threes. I mean, it's been a little bit of a 3-point shooting contest. There's way more to it. And the way that the threes are being generated by Boston, getting 2 feet in the paint, all that stuff, it is actual basketball. But it has, to a certain degree, been all about the 3.
Well, so there's the strategy aspect of the Celtics, who are successfully getting that 5-out offense, and they're driving past guys a lot. They're beating the closeouts. But I just merely ask you, Dave, as a viewer of the entertainment program of the NBA, is watching a game where the teams are 15 for 60 from 3. Is that good? Is that a good product? Because it was gross. I like rock fights. I do like defensive struggles. I like when the teams are missing, but when they're all missing just threes, I'm like, this is not fun to watch, but that's my opinion. We're going to get more into this game, of course, and more into the series. We'll continue. We'll pick it up right after this short break. All right. Through the first two games, we have not seen scintillating shooting performances. I don't feel like from both teams. We've seen unbelievable shot making at times. We already talked about Jason Tatum's missing a lot of shots. Luka Doncic, of course, through the first three quarters has been making shots. He had an outrageous first half in game two. We're seeing spectacular shot making for moments, but overall the shooting percentages are kind of gross. Is that taking away anything for you in your enjoyment of the thing? Or is this just my weird, the weird hill I die on?
Honestly, I might be immune to it at this point.
Yeah.
I've just seen a lot of basketball. I've seen a lot of bad basketball. So I may just be immune to it. And plus I do think that what the defenses are doing is interesting, especially what Boston's doing defensively. So I'm just paying attention to other stuff rather than whether the ball goes in or not. But I get it. It's much more fun when these guys are trading crazy shots. It's sort of like boxing. I like a good 12-round fight. I like a fight where it's boxing the whole time. But I also love a fight, and that's different than a boxing match. And so, I love a 3-round fight where both guys are just out there swinging haymakers the whole time. Like, that's also interesting. And I think that the NBA and in the playoffs, we've sort of seen the best of the best with that. And we've also gotten the worst of the worst where it comes down to who made 8 threes, who made 6. I prefer the other. I like,
this is 10 versus 6. Which is literally game 2. The Celtics made 10 threes. The Mavericks made 6, which is horrifying.
This is what we're missing. And because, frankly, Kyrie's kind of letting us down.
Kyrie's been awful.
He's not shown up.
He hasn't been there yet. Kyrie's been a letdown. I want to go back to something you said, though. Specifically, you said paying attention to whether or not the ball goes in. One talking point about game 2, which felt unanimous, which I completely agreed with, but I saw some pushback to it. I want to get your opinion. There was this basic feeling that Jason Tatum played well, but the shots didn't go in. Mm-hmm. And I would also say I thought Luka Doncic played terribly, but the shots went in. Is that a fair distillation of what happened? What would you rather have happen? Would you rather have the shots go in and you play terribly, or would you rather play well and have the shots not go in?
It depends on if you win or not.
That's right. It all depends on the victory. Yeah.
I think Tatum has been pretty good. He's not been great, but this is sort of who Tatum is. I mean, this is exactly what I think most of us expected with Tatum. It's why he is, and it's funny. Let me give him an insult here and say he's, somewhere between 6-10 or 6-12.
Yeah.
And not 1-5 in the league.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I was super, I don't know if encouraged is the word. I was super encouraged by Tatum's play. I mean, the missed driving layups, those were like, where's your touch? Why are you missing
some of those? He's looking for a foul call.
He is looking for a foul.
Is the problem. Yeah. One of the biggest problems with his game is the foul seeking, and he's not getting those calls, and they wind up. And this is where we got to go back in the shooting percentages. I do not understand, if you get a shooting foul call, that's not tracked if you miss. Mm-hmm. And I want to know how many guys got away for years on threes, getting their 3-point percentage boosted by this, and around the rim, just throwing the ball up. I mean, he's going for some of these dunks where he's cupping the ball and like he's gonna cock back. He had no hope on a couple of those, and he's looking for a bailout foul. So, I mean, if he would just play basketball, the guy, he's got every gift that you would want. He's got every skill you would want. He's powerful. He's strong. If he would just play basketball, the dude would score. We wouldn't say, wow, he's, what was he, 6 for 22 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't be 6 for 22 if he was out there just hooping. and going hard to the rack and actually trying to score instead of trying to shoot free throws.
But also,
but
I don't
getting 2 feet in the paint and making plays has been excellent for him.
Like, I know counting stats can be misleading. It's also why, again, Luka scintillating on offense in that first half, but in the first half, he still was having these really devastating turnovers that were leading to points, and his defense was bad. And so like he finishes with his 30-point triple double, but it's like, yeah, that doesn't really, he wasn't that good. He also was kind of very detrimental at times to the team. And then, but however, the flip side of that is, maybe I'm just incorrect in speaking out of both sides of my mouth, where I'm like, I thought Tatum's 12 assists those were felt. Those were like that. Those were huge assists. He's like, those were a lot of them, the super assists. Those were for dunks. Those were for layups. He was playing like he was playmaking so much.
He had 6 or 7 more that were left on the table on open looks. I mean, this was the game for them.
Yeah. So I was super impressed with those 12 assists he got. But of course he only got 9 rebounds. That's not a triple double. So it was a bad game from Tatum. Drew Holiday was huge in game 2. I mean, 11 out of 14. Also, he keeps, line. I mean, and like, yeah, I mean, he's down in the dunker spot a lot, and he's gotten so good. I know this was part of his game, but we've seen it so much in the playoffs where like, he's just gotten so patient on, it's not a post move really. It's basically a layup, but he's using his body and his shoulders, and a lot of times he's finishing lefty. Yeah, he's just like he's finishing in the paint a lot. He's shooting over his past 9 games. This is a guy who has struggled at times shooting the basketball in the postseason. In the last 9 games, cherry pick stat, he's over 60% on his field goal attempts, averaging 18 points per game, making 45% of his threes. By the way, 94% from the line too. So like Drew Holiday, peak of his powers, playing so well. What interests me though about this series is we've still, despite Kyrie having 2 very underwhelming games, despite the supporting cast from the Mavericks being a nightmare as far as, I mean, maybe you could say that they've defended fine, but the offensively hasn't been there. The 3-point shooting has not been there for the supporting cast. Some guys don't look like they belong in the game. I mean, like Jaden Hardy and Maxi Kleber, and like, I don't know. It's just like you watch him and you're like, oh my goodness. I mean, Kleber's played 35 minutes and 2 points, but
it's not good.
Despite all that, the Mavs were in it at the end of game 2. Like, this felt like the whole game felt like the Celtics were dominating. At one point, my wife, she asked what's the score of the game? Just randomly. She maybe politely showing an interest in my little hobby. But I was like, well, actually the Celtics are only up 8, but it feels like a blowout, but it's actually, they're only up 8. And then the Mavs got within a bucket, and it was like, that's despite this rough game. And even in game 1, where they were getting blown off the court, all of a sudden the third quarter starts, the Mavs get within 8, and then of course they fall apart, and it's not close. But like, the Mavs have had moments, and still, like, losing 2 games on the road, not that shocking. Now you get to come home. You assume the home cooking, Kyrie won't be this bad. Some of the guys will make 3-pointers, although again, the Celtics do a good job of funneling the threes to the above the break ones for the not great shooters. But so all of this, I try to just keep in mind, like, the Mavericks were in the game.
5-point game.
Yeah.
It was a 5-point game when Derek White got the transition block on the dunk with 53 seconds. So if that dunk goes in, it's a 3-point game with 3 seconds left.
Is there, so what do you expect? So we don't think,
So I'm saying tip your cap to Dallas's defense too, because they have kept them in it.
Is there something that the Celtics are doing specifically that you think is really hampering Kyrie? I feel like the team 3-point shooting, I do feel like they're doing a good job of, again, allowing the guys, they're cool with shooting them, and they're not allowed, again, you pointed out the corner 3-pointers. They're not allowing corner threes, which is impressive. But like, what are they doing to Kyrie that's causing Kyrie to have 2 subpar games so far?
I mean, they are just guarding the hell out of him.
Yeah.
They're physically guarding him. They're using hands on him. And part of it is he's missing shots that he can make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen this guy he hits tough shots and he's getting tough looks and they're just not going in. That's a big part of it. But then you just don't feel him making plays. There, when the shot's not falling, where are the 10 assists?
Yeah.
You got to figure out, like, Kyrie's better than this. And now this has been a trend though. I've been dumping this stat every time I can. He's lost his last 12 against the Celtics. Like, they turn it up a notch against him. Whether it's, I don't think that they hate him, but this is like a former teammate. They know him well.
The Celtics, of course,
10 straight games where he hadn't scored 25 points against him.
Which is, but by the way, I don't know if any of you guys out there are wagering. I've been using my Underdog Fantasy. I'm on a tear, Underdog Fantasy. If you want to sign up, promo code FBBF, as in Fastbreak Breakfast, they'll match your opening deposit up to $250 plus give you a bonus pick. But the reason I've been killing it, I've been taking unders. Everybody's under. I got a little bit lucky with Luka. Luka running out of gas, been a big story for this series. Game 1, he had 29 points with I think a couple minutes to go in the third quarter. I think he finished with 31. And then game 2, he had that huge 20-something point first half. He also had 29 points, maybe 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter, finished with 32 or something. So he's run out of gas, but everybody else is under. Kyrie, Jason Tatum, free money, man. So, taking those unders, and of course the team scoring totals have been way under. No, it's been notable. Like, I was gonna say the Celtics, they have just, you would think they have the guards to do it, because Drew and Derek White, which, by the way, even if the Celtics win the title and I was wrong about my prediction, this is in my mind, an affirmation of me for two guys I've been crazy about for forever, being Derek White and Drew Holiday. And I know it's not a big shock to love Drew Holiday, but Derek White's a guy I adored on the Spurs. It was this guy's amazing. So I'm calling it a huge win for me if those guys help the Celtics win the title. But beyond those two guys, we saw Sam Hauser keep Kyrie in front of him. And that's hey, what's going on there? Why isn't Kyrie shaking these guys?
He can't apply pressure to the rim.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not good.
And also
time for that, it's just.
So also, the Celtics, we talked about how the Mavs have been struggling on offense. The Celtics, their role players have not helped them, Sam Hauser's all right. He guarded Kyrie pretty well, but Sam Hauser's missing open shots. Peyton Pritchard missing open shots.
Oh, he hit the most important shot of the game.
He did. Yeah, he did bank in that awesome buzzer beater. Good job getting that heave up. Yeah. So the games have been entertaining. I expect the Mavericks to bounce back at game 3. Luka also. Oh, here's another angle we haven't even mentioned. But Luka's health clearly limited. However, Dave, last episode, you were
no excuses.
No excuses. You said no excuses because everyone has a week off, and then there's a game every 3 days for the first 3 games. So we should see total, complete health from all these people. What was Luka Doncic doing during his week off? Was he bullfighting? Was he doing some Kelly Oubre BMX races? What did Luka do to his body in the week off before the finals?
It seems like that he drawing the charge in game 1.
Was that
He got this chest bruise.
Oh, yeah. Never draw charges, kids.
Charges are bad.
That's what Uncle Dave says. Never draw a charge.
That's right. Charges are bad. Play defense.
I can't get over, because you would think. I think you're I thought you were right. A week off, it's going to help him rest
There's still no
his
excuses.
Sore ankle, his sore
Luka
knee.
has not been the problem here, and Luka has actually done enough.
Yeah.
In these first 2 games, so it's been the role players. The water shut off. There is no excuse here. Boston has dominated. Boston's defense is winning the finals.
So you said there's Luka's been good enough. I want to needle at that just for
good enough.
I want to needle at that for just a second. I feel like Luka's game 2. There has to be some kind of formula. Maybe it exists among the analytics community. There has to be some formula where you look at that stat line. What was it, like 30, 32, 11, and 11 or something?
Mm-hmm.
But then you subtract hey, you had 8 turnovers that led to, I don't know, what are the points off of Luka's turnovers specifically?
Right. I have to go back and watch
because there's it's like 14, maybe.
They're happening out at the top of the key.
Yeah, they're runouts.
This series has been very interesting in 2 games. Luka has been ripped, just straight up ripped one-on-one by Derek White, by Drew Holiday, by Jaylen Brown. The ball pressure that they're putting on him. I mean, how many times has Derek Jones had to bring the ball up? And that is an adventure. If you're me and you're watching that, I wish I could explain. Like, I'm like, ooh, every time Derek Jones is dribbling the ball up in traffic. He's also carrying the ball every single time. If they call it once, it would just make me very happy. But the ball pressure has been excellent. They've really got Luka's dribbling timed out. That's pretty unique. It's not often you see him just get picked like that.
So I feel like this goes back to, I don't want to make a controversial comparison, but I feel like this, whatever stats formula we come up with where you subtract, like, all right, those are the points you gave away. And then the times you were targeted on defense where they went by you to score. For me, it was like a DeMarcus Cousins stat line where like a DeMarcus Cousins has like, oh yeah, DeMarcus Cousins had 35 points and 18 rebounds. And yeah, he kind of stunk because he didn't try for 30% of the possessions or something. And like, you have to, that takes something off the board. So I don't know. I expect Luka to bounce back because he's done that. He's been amazing this entire playoffs and back against the wall, when his team's back's been against the wall. And also when he's had those closeout opportunities, he's been superhuman. And even this, if his body was betraying him, the shots he made to offset what he knew he was doing wrong, the shots he made to offset it were still just unbelievable things, like hard to comprehend, the things he was doing. So I expect a lot from him in game 3. But Dave, let's take let's do a listener submitted question about this series. That's right. It is the croissant questionnaire.
Any questions?
All right, Dave. Magnus asks,
are you going to finish that croissant?
Knock yourself out.
are the Celtics the most boring team in terms of miking up players? If not, which Celtics do you want to see mic'd up during the finals?
I mean, between the two teams?
I think he's saying among all teams.
Amongst all teams?
Personality-wise, are these the most vanilla guys?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that the teams that you would say, like, what about Detroit? These kids. I don't know.
I bet Isaiah Stewart says insane things during the game.
Okay. All right.
So, no, I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. Like the younger guys probably be a little bit too performative, like for me at least. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Drew Holiday's probably would be a pretty good guy to have.
It's like his is all like uplifting basketball. Coach speak.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear, man. There's only like a couple of guys that are really out there talking like.
I bet Peyton Pritchard says some foul things.
Only when he's guarded by a white guy.
No, yeah, they might be pretty. I mean, like Tatum and Jaylen Brown, not the most interesting to hear talk during the games.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no positivity, right?
What about miking up Missoula?
I think miking up Missoula would be amazing.
Is he going to pull out? This is some real, like, we're going to get into some manosphere talk here with this sort of forced, I'm doing a bit here where I'm very serious about, whatever. It's basketball, man.
Missoula has crossed the line where I don't know when I see the quotes. I don't know which ones are real. I feel like
Apple time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apple time. There are all these things that he says where I assume it's not true.
Right.
And then it turns out it's a thing he actually said.
Talking about using orcas.
What was the thing he said about being a Christian? He was like,
yeah.
Like I thought that was a joke.
They asked about having 2 black head coaches in the finals, which I don't think this is actually the first time. I think it's happened before. But and his response was, well, how many of them were Christian? And I don't know, because that's your private business.
Is it the first?
Are Christians oppressed? Is that like a thing?
Is it the first matchup of domestic
abusers? Were you born that way?
First matchup of guys with citations for domestic violence as coach.
Unfortunately, probably maybe not.
Yeah, I mean probably not. Although I don't think they charged people with domestic violence back in the day.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, I would say the Celtics kind of, as far as mic'd up options, maybe a little bit vanilla. Maybe there's
you can't mic up a fan there.
Yeah.
You got to turn those mics down.
Here's another question. This is not related to the finals. This question is from Mike F. What were the runners up for Dave's fitness goals? So last week you said you wanted to run a 5K in X amount of minutes and then be able to do something. So Mike wants to know, what were the runners up for Dave's fitness goals? Sprint a mile, then demolish a brick house, walk a marathon and strangle a goose. What does strangle a goose? Sounds like a euphemism. Mike wants to know more. What were the runners up for your fitness goals? What was the fitness goal? And then now it's a
25-minute 5K.
Yeah.
Right. And then to be able to box 12 rounds.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So what's the runner up for your fitness goal?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. I mean, I used to have a lot of goals that were just arbitrary numbers, because I used to pick up, I used to carry extra weight to pick up heavier things. And now I don't know, man. You know what my goal is? I want to be able to do all the stuff I do right now when I'm 90 years old. Because I'll see 90 years old.
90?
My family just lives a long time, and they don't do. Now, maybe that's the secret to life, is to eat more pigs. But
take it easy.
They don't do the stuff I do, and they live a long time. So I expect to live a long time. And the reason that I am the way I am about it is because I don't want any bad years. That's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't have bad days. I don't want any bad years. So all the stuff that I do is with that in mind. And so as long as I can run, think about it. I'm not going to have a bad day if I have to run a 5K and then go 12 rounds.
So I feel like my definition of a bad day would be having to run a 5K and then fight.
I ran a 10K yesterday.
Running a 5K and then having to box, that sounds like the worst day of my life. I have a question.
Look, man, my favorite thing to do is to move my body. I hate sitting around. I can't stand it.
I sat around too much yesterday, and I feel like it hurt my body. Like I browsed the internet for too long yesterday, and I feel my whole body's all sore.
Bad?
I got it. Listen, I shot around. I probably shot baskets for maybe an hour yesterday, and I don't think that's why I felt bad. I think it's because I was just writing down basketball stats. I was working on a basketball project, doing a bunch of stuff, and
you got to walk, man.
Here's my own question. The Warriors, there's a report the Warriors are going to waive Kevon Looney. My question is Kevon Looney done? Is there anything left in the tank?
I don't know. Okay. Last year he looked awful.
Yeah. Wasn't great.
No, but it's hard for me to believe this guy can't go be a backup somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's done. And the first team that comes to mind for me, I've been kind of kicking this around since they were eliminated, but wouldn't he be a great backup for Nikola Jokic in Denver?
Yeah, you would think.
That would be perfect. So, look, if the Warriors do wind up cutting him, it would feel weird to me, because I just feel like he could have a market. He doesn't make a ton of money, and he would help a couple of good teams. Now, the Warriors, he doesn't help. The Warriors need maybe a real center. But I think Looney is a backup. I mean, if he gets cut, I think he'll get claimed.
It's
sad.
So the Warriors are cutting him again, based on their luxury tax situation. Right. If they cut him, he's only owed $3 million of his $8 million salary. I don't think anyone would even claim him just because like most of these salary cap teams, they have dreams of maybe using it for bigger stuff.
He can sign a vet minimum.
And even like the Pistons or the Magic, they have a lot of front court guys. Like those are guys with cap space, teams with cap space. I mean, the Thunder, like they could use.
I don't think so.
He doesn't fit their thing. And there's some talk. I don't know where the source originated, but there's talk about the Thunder making an aggressive pursuit of Isaiah Hartenstein. They could sign him to the Bruce Brown Memorial. Here's $26 million for 1 year, with a second year option, team option. And that makes a ton of sense to me for the Thunder. Again, using your cap space, overpaying for a single year because it doesn't matter. Right. And then maybe making it so then maybe so that the Knicks couldn't keep him around. You're saying the Spurs for Looney?
Maybe.
Claim.
I'm just thinking now that you're talking about Hartenstein and using cap space, the Spurs could be another team that want to do something like that, get him in there.
So I'm looking, I know this is not the way to tell the whole story, because Looney's a guy I've targeted for the Grizzlies for a while, basically ever since he destroyed the Grizzlies in the playoffs 2 years ago. Like looking at Looney's stats, his rebound percentage was lower this year, but it was the same as it was 2 years ago. His like field goal percentage is fine. His block percentage, steal percentage, all at his normal career values. I know he got passed by Trace Jackson Davis, and they stopped playing him as much. But he seems like a guy that a lot of teams probably at least would kick the tires on, to find out.
I mean, like maybe the Clippers, like if he was the backup to Zubac.
They already have Daniel Tyson, Mason Plumlee. I mean, assuming how many non-shooting bigs
guys will still be there.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed to say how high Daniel Tice is on my Grizzlies target list. The Hawks
got to bring back Biz.
The Hawks maybe trading or looking to trade DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella, which is like a report that came out. And again, that's like an obvious, just like, well, yeah, they're going to draft Alex Sarr or maybe Reese Shea, and DeAndre Hunter. They think they're underwater on that contract / still want to pay him the contract. I think this is funny. So I've been, I don't know. I'm guessing you haven't tracked a ton of the draft stuff, but there's all these things where the general consensus of all these mock drafts, Dave, is Zachary Risache is sliding up, and maybe he's in contention for number one, and maybe he's passing Sarr. The thing I find amusing about this is Sarr has worked out for the teams and Risache hasn't. So the way I read that is all these teams have been like, well, that guy wasn't that good. Maybe the guy we haven't seen, maybe he'll be better. So maybe this Risache guy, maybe he'll be number one because we haven't seen him yet.
Down, man.
Yeah, we've seen everybody else work out. Yeah, seriously, don't work out for anybody, Zach. You're doing.
You got to skip these things, man. You got to skip those camps. Shooting only, stuff like that.
Anyways, thanks James everybody
Wiseman,
for
James
the questions.
Wiseman was the blueprint. Play
Exactly.
9 college games or whatever.
Yeah. Put as little on tape as possible. Anyways, thanks for the questions, everybody. If you want your question to be answered on air, you have to be a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. If you join there, you also get to be a part of the Slack channel, very active Slack channel, talking about everything around the clock. Support the show. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, Dave, it's now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes. This is given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We only had 2 games in the last 7 days. Don't worry.
We've only had 4 in the last 2 weeks, 5 in the last 2 weeks.
There's been 4 basketball. Yeah, is that right?
It's such a perfect amount of basketball.
It's so good. Anyways, so good. Honorable mention. Maxi Kleber, 0 for 4. Sam Hauser, 0 for 5. Derrick Jones Jr., 2 for 9. Kyrie Irving, 7 for 18. Our 3 nominees from the last week. Peyton Pritchard, game 1, 0 for 7. No points. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 2 personal fouls. Our next nominee, Jason Tatum, game 2.
6 for 22.
6 for 22. 18 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. And then we have, also 1 steal, 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. And then Kyrie Irving, also in game 2, 6 for 19, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. So Peyton Pritchard, 0 for 7, no points. Tatum, 6 for 22, 18 points, 12 assists. Kyrie, 6 for 19, 12 points, 2 assists. I wouldn't normally consider Peyton Pritchard. Not enough attempts, so we can get rid of him.
Also, his job.
What do you mean? It's just his shots?
He's going to have a 0 for 7 game. His job is just to shoot, right? Like that's it.
I think the assists and rebounds saved Tatum.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. So you feel good about,
I mean,
the defense is not in the box score, Dave.
In the box score.
Inadmissible. You can't use your brain from what you watched in the game.
He had a steal.
Yeah.
But
Kyrie had 2 steals. The
assists really help.
So Kyrie, 6 for 19, 12 points. We need so much more. I mean, his over-unders are the lines at 23.5 basically every game. And what was that stat you said? He hadn't scored over 25 in like
10 games.
10 straight against the Celtics. I need to look up what his over-under is right now for the Wednesday night game. Yeah. So, all right. Congratulations, Kyrie Irving, winning the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. All right, Dave, to wrap up, the Lakers are trying to hire a basketball coach. This has been the leading story basically everywhere about the NBA. It's not the finals. It is the Lakers' pursuit of a basketball coach. What exactly is going on? I'll be honest, I haven't followed closely. I know they tried to get Dan Hurley from UConn, and
no,
not really.
I don't think so.
They just embarrass themselves for no reason on a national stage.
Maybe
they just have they have a fetish for this, a humiliation fetish.
I think they tried. I don't know that this was an honest conversation.
I don't think it was an honest conversation from one side of it.
Sure. Right.
I mean, so first of all, some part of this Lakers coaching story is the war between Shams and Woj, or just like this rivalry.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to comment.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed as an athletic man.
As far as media, let's just say PR through the media goes.
So,
this has been an interesting saga. I'll say that.
So, here, you don't have to talk. I'll say some things. I think part of it started, there was the Shams put out the thing about Mike Brown, where there was this thing about Mike Brown for the Kings negotiating to get a new deal, saying, I want a 3-year, $30 million deal. The Kings offer has been much lower or something. Or maybe it was 3 for 36. I can't remember. The final number that Shams reported was the Kings have re-signed Coach Mike Brown for a 3-year, $30 million extension. Then Woj follows up with some more details saying the numbers are much lower or whatever. Maybe that 3 for 30 is if they win the title, or something. But it seems like this thing's been working where Woj kind of tries to maybe undermine the credibility of Shams a lot. And then this latest thing, you had the JJ Redick news where Shams comes out and it's like, JJ Redick has been targeted to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And normally when the newsbreakers say that means it's a done deal. And then off the top rope, Woj gives us the Danny Hurley is the coach, is targeted to be the next coach of the Lakers. And this is, again, it feels final when they do these things because we've grown accustomed to them not reporting it until it's a done deal. And now this has fallen through. So it's been wild as a basketball consumer of this entire situation. What?
You make a good point.
Which one?
We have gotten used to newsbreakers giving us news.
Yeah.
Not giving us free news. It's like teasers for news.
Yeah.
We're now getting teasers for things that come. And then a lot of them don't come. And I personally, sports gambling is not for me. I've been very lucky to avoid having to, take any money from that. Weird when newsbreakers aren't actually giving you news and they're giving you speculation, and it affects gambling.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest, the most interesting part of this to me.
Well, at one point,
because eventually the Lakers are going to hire a coach and we'll find out.
Yeah. At one point, I believe JJ Redick was minus 300 to become the Lakers' next head coach. He still might be. So like maybe you didn't lose those bets, but it has been, it's been wild. The tie-in between the gambling lines and the newsbreakers. And also you call it pre-news. I mean, I've said it for a long time. They stoke the flames of the story. Yeah. They stoke the engagement stories. They create narratives, talk about, stop throwing bones to the Lakers content producers. Like why can't Woj come up with fake stories about the Grizzlies? Like
there's no clicks, there's no downloads.
They got so many clicks, man. All the Lakers podcasters gotten so much clicks. I'm just saying, I don't need this to be national ESPN clicks. Just a few incorrect stories about my team would man, who's getting rich off all this stuff? That's what we need to know. It's
somebody.
Yeah. Somebody
we need an AI newsbreaker. That's what we need.
I want to close up, Dave, with
all this.
Another non-basketball thing.
Can we talk? You want to talk about AI in the iPhone?
I want to talk about a Lego delivery.
Oh, okay.
What
is happening, Keith?
So you're so upset. So I put this in the Slack channel. I was shopping for Legos online, which I do basically every day. I don't often purchase things, but I'm just checking out stuff. But on Sunday, I came across a weird deal on Walmart.com. I don't know if I normally I get on my high horse and I'm like, I'm not going to shop from Walmart. They've destroyed cities. Anyway, however, there was this wild deal on a set from Walmart, and I couldn't find. Normally, I'll double check if Target has the same price or Amazon or whoever, but like it was a very cheap set. And I was like, the price felt wrong. And I'm like, I'm going to buy it. And it was $30. And I get to the checkout thing and it's like, you didn't qualify for free shipping. So it was like, shipping was like $8. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to buy an $8 Lego set to add to my thing. So I get that free. Yeah. I did that. So I ordered this Lego set and the cheap $8 set, which I didn't even care about, it gets delivered to the wrong house. And the thing I shared with the Slack people, I put it on my regular Twitter, my not basketball Twitter. Walmart's like your package has been delivered and they show a map and where they show it was delivered was not my house. It was in the midst of an apartment complex very close to my house. If you did not have my address, if you were just shopping based off of a 19th century treasure map, you got pretty close. They got relatively close, but there's no road. They never got to my road. So this is it's like a $10 Lego set. I don't care that much about. This was the free set instead of paying for shipping. So I go on Walmart.com and I'm like, the delivery driver marked not my house as delivered. So like they didn't do it right. They're like, yeah. They're like, we'll just give you a refund because we're not even going to replace it. So let's give you a refund. So I'm like, okay, great. So the good news is
you still got the free shipping.
I said, now I get the free shipping. So
I didn't have the Lego set that you didn't want.
So the other Lego set is coming via UPS. I'm not worried about it not getting to my house. This was delivered by someone from the local store who just didn't even get close. They let the photo
to his house.
Yeah. So there's also a proof of delivery photo. Yeah. It's just like a blurry hostage photo. It's like a blurry picture of the package with a gray wall, maybe. And I'm like, there's no gray walls outside my house. So it's definitely not my house. Anyways, I go looking for my set. Now I have a free Lego set somewhere, I think in this apartment complex. So I go walking over to the apartment complex and I'm like poking around and I start feeling self-conscious because it's near the apartment pool and the apartment pool actually overrun. There's like 12 ladies in bikinis at the apartment pool. And I'm just a random weirdo guy who doesn't live in the apartment complex, like walking around. So I've become very self-conscious about snooping around these apartments. I go to the apartment building where the X is on the app and I'm like, this looks like it. but I don't see any packages. I can't tell if it's one where I'm supposed to, like, if there's like a public door you open up and then it leads to more apartments inside.
Right.
But I'm like, there's too many people around. I don't want to walk into these people's house. So I just go to the apartment like office and I'm like, hey, if anyone turns in this like tiny package from Walmart, it's mine. Here's my contact info. So that was on Monday. So I'm like, whatever. I did not find my Lego set that wasn't delivered. But then today I feel a little more bold. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go walk in. I'm going to do a little sleuthing. I'm going to go just see if the door's unlocked. Because this apartment, it's not like apartments 1, 2, 3, and 4. So maybe there's a little, whatever, a lobby or something. So I go back today in the little part where they marked it was delivered. I find it. In fact, I get my Lego set. So now I got a free Lego set that I went and hunted down, incorrectly delivered to a place that was not my actual house. Also interesting, Dave. Part of me thought, you know what? Whoever gets this is going to take it to my house. They're going to see this package with an address that's my address. And they're going to say, this is not the apartment. This is the street over here.
Yeah.
It turns out this package from Walmart doesn't even have an address on the box. It just says K Parish. And there's like a code. Like maybe is that for the AI delivery people? It didn't even have my street address on it. It would have never made it to me, but I tracked it down. I feel very excited about my free Legos. But what's the moral of the story, Dave? I don't know. Pay your delivery drivers better so they at least attempt to make it to the street of the yeah.
You didn't do it for pickup?
No. Why would I do that?
Okay.
No. Well, the thing I wanted, not available for pickup. It was shipping only.
Right.
But also,
I don't probably coming from a main warehouse.
Yeah, it's coming. Also, the price was so wrong on the thing I purchased. I went back to see if I could buy another one. Nope. Price went up immediately. So
you got the one.
I got, is it surge pricing on Walmart.com? They're like, hey, we got to move one of these. But yeah.
Or maybe it was an accident.
It is an accident.
Who knows?
Anyways.
I don't know.
Also, Walmart.com, I think half of it is just like from the mafia. Cause like it's all stolen merchandise because it's like, there's you have to put a filter. It says, who do you want to fulfill the order when you're on Walmart.com? You have to proactively say, I want my order to be filled by Walmart. Like you can just buy stuff and it's like, it'll be some supplier. And like, it's wild. The prices are all
Walmart is essentially like Walmart.com is like AliExpress. Essentially.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It's got so much stuff that they don't actually sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need an electric side-by-side?
And and the only thing I'm an expert on is Lego pricing. So I look at the Lego stuff and I'm like, that set is like 400% overpriced. What's going on? And it's like, oh, it's not sold by Walmart. They're just hoping you click it. And you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to buy.
Everything on the internet is literally built so that some old person is tricked into clicking and giving their money or info.
Have you seen the AI books? There's like an Ian Carmel fake documentary written by AI on Amazon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's just funny that we ruin everything with trash.
Yeah.
Like everything gets spammed to death. The mail system, man, God, I'm sounding like a
no, it's fine. No one listens to the last 5 minutes.
Can't use your telephone.
No. Telephone is useless.
All my telephone does is get spam.
It's nonstop texts from George Clooney and Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, and someone has, I don't know who did it, but someone put my phone number in a Trump thing.
Oh, there you go.
Getting texts, and
nonstop.
You can't block every number. So phones are useless. Email, useless.
Yeah.
Social media, useless. Online stores,
Red Lobster, useless.
Yeah. That's a sad one, man.
They're destroying everything.
We got to destroy private equity.
Yeah, let's put down with private equity.
Yeah.
Anyways, congratulations.
By any means necessary.
If you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Anyways, Dave, the NBA is back at it on Wednesday night. Should be exciting. Thanks for coming on. Of course, always a pleasure talking ball with you. I'll see you in a month in Las Vegas. Very excited about that. Any listeners, if you're going to be in Las Vegas, let me know. We'll definitely
meet up.
Yeah, let's do a meetup.
We'll do a real one.
Anyways, if you want to support the show, get access to bonus content, including bonus episodes, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fastbreak break, man. You understand?
I will remember